First contact and deception. The silver ships appeared on a Tuesday morning, their hulls gleaming like mercury in Earth's sunlight. They came not with the thunderous arrival humanity had always imagined, but with an elegant silence that belied their true nature. 7 vessels, each larger than the largest aircraft carrier ever built, took up position in high Earth orbit. Commander Marcus Riley stood at the window of the International Space Station, his breath fogging the reinforced glass as he watched the alien fleet maintain their perfect formation. 20 years in space had prepared him for many things, but not for this moment, not for first contact. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka reported from her communication station. Her fingers danced across the holographic interface, interpreting the incoming signals. The message. It's in perfect English. Riley turned from the window, his weathered face reflecting in the station's polished surfaces. What are they saying? Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Dominion, and we come in peace. Yuki's voice carried a note of skepticism that matched Riley's own feelings. They're requesting to establish diplomatic relations. Down on Earth, governments scrambled to respond. The United Nations convened an emergency session. Military forces went to high alert, and the world's population held its collective breath. The Dominion's ambassador, a tall, ethereal being who called himself Archon-Vex, addressed the UN General Assembly with promises of technological advancement and cultural exchange. But Riley saw something different. During his routine maintenance of the station's external sensors, he noticed unusual energy readings from the Dominion ships. Their peaceful overtures didn't match the military-grade weapons he detected beneath their sleek hulls. 20 years of experience told him something wasn't right. Working in secret, Riley began collecting data. Each scan revealed more inconsistencies in the Dominion story. Their ships' positions, while appearing random, created a perfect surveillance net around Earth. Their diplomatic vessels carried enough firepower to level continents, and their communications, when analyzed at the quantum level, contained encrypted messages that spoke of resources, extraction, and conquest. "Commander, you need to see this," Yuki called out one evening, 3 weeks after first contact. She had been helping Riley analyze the Dominion's transmissions, sharing his growing concerns. "I've decoded part of their internal communications. They're not just mapping Earth's defenses, they're cataloging our resources. All of them." Riley leaned over her shoulder, studying the decoded data streams. His worst fears were confirmed when he saw the pattern. It matched historical records of other worlds the Dominion had visited, worlds that had mysteriously gone silent after first contact. Using the ISS's secure quantum channel, Riley transmitted his findings to Earth's military leaders. The response was immediate but discreet. As the Dominion continued their diplomatic charm offensive, humanity began to prepare. Underground facilities were expanded, weapons development accelerated, and a plan was put in motion. The Dominion's deception was perfect, but they had made one crucial mistake. They had assumed humanity would be like all the other species they had encountered, eager to accept advanced technology without question, willing to trust without verification. They didn't understand that humans had spent centuries telling stories about first contact gone wrong, preparing themselves mentally for the possibility of hostile aliens. As Riley watched the Dominion ships from his window, he saw them adjust their formation slightly. To anyone else, it would have looked like a routine maneuver. But he knew better. They were moving into attack positions, preparing for the moment when their true intentions would be revealed. "Send word to command," he told Yuki. "Operation Cassandra is a go." The first phase of humanity's resistance was about to begin. The Dominion thought they were dealing with a naive species, easy prey for their advanced technology and sophisticated deception. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. In the darkness of space, Earth's defenders worked silently, preparing for the inevitable moment when the mask would fall. Humanity had no intention of becoming another conquered world in the Dominion's vast empire. They would fight, and the Dominion would learn that some species are not so easily deceived. As the sun set on another day of false peace, Riley knew that time was running out. The question wasn't if the Dominion would attack, but when. And when they did, humanity would be ready with a surprise of their own. The mask falls. The attack began at dawn. The Dominion ships, their silver hulls now crackling with deadly energy, dropped their peaceful facade. Massive weapon ports opened along their sides, revealing arrays of devastating plasma cannons. The morning sun caught the gleam of launching fighters, thousands of them, descending toward Earth's atmosphere like a swarm of metallic insects. Commander Riley watched from the ISS as humanity's worst fears became reality. But he wasn't surprised. He was ready. "Execute Protocol Thunderbolt," he ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Lieutenant Tanaka's fingers flew across her console, sending the coded signal to Earth's defense network. Within seconds, humanity's response began. As the first Dominion fighters entered the atmosphere, they encountered something unexpected. The seemingly defenseless satellites orbiting Earth suddenly activated, revealing sophisticated energy shields and weapon systems that had been carefully concealed. The technology was crude by Dominion standards, but it had been specifically designed to counter their attacks. On the bridge of the Dominion flagship, Archon Vex watched in disbelief as the first wave of his fighters encountered heavy resistance. "Impossible," he hissed, his ethereal features twisting with rage. "Their technology was primitive. We saw their weapons, their defenses. You saw what we wanted you to see." Riley's voice came through on all Dominion frequencies. "While you were playing diplomat, we were preparing." The battle for Earth had begun in earnest. The Dominion's superior technology clashed with humanity's desperate innovation. Cities around the world activated hidden shield generators, protecting population centers from orbital bombardment. Military bases that had appeared vulnerable revealed underground hangars filled with hybrid fighters, human craft enhanced with reverse-engineered technology from scattered pieces of Dominion tech. Colonel Diana Rodriguez led the first counterattack from the Atacama Desert Base. Her squadron of modified F-35s, equipped with quantum disruption fields, engaged the Dominion fighters head-on. The alien pilots, accustomed to overwhelming their opponents with superior technology, found themselves facing an enemy that had studied their every weakness. They relied too heavily on their quantum targeting systems, Rodriguez broadcasted to her pilots as they entered the fray. "Use the disruptors. Force them into visual range combat. They've forgotten how to fight without their advanced tech." The skies over Earth became a chaos of energy weapons and explosions. The Dominion's initial advantage began to waver as more of humanity's hidden defenses came online. Emergency bunkers beneath major cities opened, revealing vast networks of underground facilities where civilians had already been evacuated. Archon Vex's rage grew as reports of mounting losses reached his command center. The humans had deceived them, had prepared for this moment while maintaining a convincing facade of vulnerability. But the Dominion still held the advantage in raw power. "Begin orbital bombardment," he commanded. "Reduce their cities to ash." The Dominion's capital ships moved into position, their main weapons charging. But before they could fire, a new threat emerged. From hidden bases on the Moon and Mars, installations the Dominion had dismissed as primitive mining operations, human ships launched their own attack. These vessels, commanded by Admiral Helena Chen, represented humanity's greatest secret. While the Dominion had been focused on Earth, these ships had been built and crew trained in complete secrecy. They weren't as powerful as Dominion warships, but they didn't need to be. They just needed to disrupt the bombardment. "All ships, execute attack pattern Omega," Chen ordered. Her fleet moved with precision, targeting specific weak points in the Dominion formation. They had spent months studying the alien ship's design, identifying vulnerabilities that the overconfident Dominion had never bothered to address. The space battle quickly devolved into chaos. Dominion ships, their formations disrupted, found themselves unable to maintain the precise positioning needed for effective orbital bombardment. Human vessels, while taking heavy losses, succeeded in their primary mission. protecting Earth from the worst of the Dominion's fury. Back on the ISS, Commander Riley coordinated the global defense network. The station, now revealed to be a sophisticated command center, used its position to maintain communications between Earth's scattered forces. Lieutenant Tanaka worked tirelessly at her station, ensuring that humanity's defenders remained coordinated despite the Dominion's attempts to disrupt their communications. "We need to get close," Zhang explained. "Really close. The interference field won't work at this range. We need to plant quantum destabilizers directly on the device." Colonel Rodriguez stepped forward. "My pilots can do it. We've been drilling for close-quarters combat since this war began. Just tell us where to hit them." The plan came together quickly because it had to. Earth's remaining fighters would escort a specially modified shuttle carrying Zhang's team and their experimental equipment. The mission was practically suicide. They would have to navigate through the growing quantum distortions around the Voidmaker. "I'll lead the mission myself," Zhang declared. "No one else understands the math well enough to make the final adjustments." As the team prepared to launch, humanity held its collective breath. The Voidmaker's effect was already visible from Earth, a dark, swirling distortion growing in space, slowly consuming everything in its path. Rodriguez's fighters launched first, engaging the Dominion's defensive screen. The battle that followed was unlike anything seen before. Human pilots flew through growing spatial distortions, their ships barely holding together as reality itself warped around them. Zhang's shuttle, protected by the fighter screen, made its approach. Inside, the Major and his team worked to calibrate their equipment. Each spatial distortion they passed through threatened to tear their ship apart. "The math has to be perfect," Zhang muttered as they closed in. "One miscalculation, and we'll accelerate the collapse instead of stopping it." Supreme Commander Thax, realizing the humans' intention, ordered everything he had left to stop them. They cannot be allowed to reach the device. "All ships, engage." The space around the Voidmaker became a chaos of energy weapons, spatial distortions, and desperate combat. Rodriguez's pilots fought with everything they had, creating a corridor for Zhang's shuttle through sheer determination. Commander Riley watched from the ISS, coordinating the defense of Earth even as the station's orbit began to decay from the Voidmaker's influence. "Whatever you're going to do, Major, do it fast. We're running out of time." Zhang's shuttle finally reached its target, maneuvering through a maze of quantum distortions that threatened to tear reality apart. The team worked quickly, attaching their devices to key points on the Voidmaker's surface. "Quantum destabilizers in place," Zhang reported, his voice steady despite the situation. "Beginning the sequence. Either this works or, well, no one will be around to say it didn't." The destabilizers activated, sending carefully calculated waves of quantum interference into the Voidmaker's core. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly at first, but with growing intensity, the weapon's energy signature began to change. "It's working," Tanaka called out from her station. "The quantum cascade is reversing." But victory wouldn't come easily. The Voidmaker's containment field began to fluctuate wildly as the weapon turned on itself. The space around it warped and twisted, threatening to tear apart everything nearby, including Zhang's shuttle. The price of victory. "Get out of there, Major," Commander Riley ordered as the Voidmaker's energy readings went critical. But Zhang's shuttle, caught in the weapon's gravitational field, couldn't break free. The quantum destabilizers were working, but they were working too well. "Negative, Commander," Zhang replied calmly. "Someone needs to maintain the field calibration manually. The automated systems can't handle these fluctuations." He didn't need to say what everyone knew. Staying meant certain death. Colonel Rodriguez's voice cut through the comm. "Like hell, you're staying there alone." Her fighter squadron broke formation, diving toward the failing weapon. "We'll establish a counterfield, give you a chance to break free." Supreme Commander Thax, watching his ultimate weapon turn against itself, made one final desperate move. "All remaining ships, full power to engines. Ram that device. If we're going to die, we'll take them with us." The space around the Voidmaker became a maelstrom of chaos as Rodriguez's fighters engaged the suicide run of Dominion ships. The human pilots, displaying incredible skill, used the weapon's own gravitational distortions to their advantage, letting the warped space amplify their maneuvers in ways that should have been impossible. In Station Deep, Dr. Patel had a revelation. The quantum cascade. It's creating a feedback loop. If we can't shut it down, maybe we can redirect it. Redirect it where? Admiral Chen demanded. There's nowhere safe to point that thing. This news spread quickly through Earth's forces. The Dominion's seemingly impervious ships had a critical flaw. Their hull material relied on quantum fields to maintain its strength. Under the influence of the interference field, they were becoming vulnerable to conventional weapons. Admiral Chen seized this opportunity. All ships switched to kinetic weapons. Their shields are optimized for energy weapons. Let's show them how we use to fight wars. The space around Earth erupted in a devastating display of old-school warfare. Rail guns and conventional missiles, weapons the Dominion had dismissed as primitive, tore through their weakened hulls. The aliens had no defense against these obsolete armaments, their ships designed to withstand energy weapons and quantum-based attacks. But the Dominion wasn't finished. Even with their technology compromised, they remained a formidable force. Supreme Commander Thax ordered his ships to push through the interference field, accepting the losses as the price of closing with Earth's defenders. If we must fight like primitives, he declared, then we shall show them what true warfare means. The battle devolved into close-quarters combat, something neither side had anticipated. Dominion ships, their elegant designs now scared and burning, engaged human vessels at point-blank range. The space around Earth became a graveyard of broken ships and shattered dreams. Dr. Patel, watching from Station Deep, noticed something crucial. The interference field. It's affecting their neural links. Their crews are losing their connection to their ship's AI systems. This revelation spread quickly through the human fleet. The Dominion relied heavily on neural interfaces to control their vessels. Without them, their crews were forced to operate their ships manually, something they hadn't trained for in generations. Commander Riley saw the opportunity. All ships pressed the advantage. They've forgotten how to fight without their technology. We haven't. The tide of battle shifted dramatically. Human crews, trained to operate their vessels under any conditions, demonstrated their superiority in basic spaceship operations. The Dominion's advanced ships, now reduced to their most basic functions, proved unwieldy in the hands of crews who had never needed to truly pilot them. As the battle reached its crescendo, Lieutenant Tanaka detected new energy signatures from the remaining Dominion ships. Sir, they're charging something massive. Energy readings are off the charts. The Dominion had one last card to play, and it would either be their salvation or humanity's ultimate test. The quantum interference field had worked better than anyone had hoped, but the cost in lives and ships had been staggering. Now, as both sides regrouped for what could be the final phase of the battle, the true measure of humanity's resolve would be tested. The hidden weapon. The massive energy signature Lieutenant Tanaka had detected wasn't just another weapon. It was the Dominion's ultimate contingency plan. From the depths of their remaining capital ships emerged a terrifying sight. The Voidmaker, a weapon designed to tear apart the fabric of space-time itself. By the stars, Dr. Patel whispered as his instruments registered the device's power. They're trying to create an artificial black hole. They mean to destroy the entire solar system. Supreme Commander Thax's voice boomed across all frequencies, his tone dripping with cold fury. You primitive creatures have forced our hand. If we cannot have this world, then neither shall you. The Voidmaker will ensure that nothing remains of your civilization. Commander Riley's response was immediate. All ships fall back to secondary positions. Dr. Patel, what are we dealing with? In Station Deep, Paddle's team worked frantically to analyze the weapon. It's like nothing we've ever seen. The device creates a cascade of quantum singularities. Once initiated, it will grow exponentially, consuming everything in its path. We have maybe 30 minutes before it reaches critical mass. Admiral Chen's fleet, already battered from the previous engagement, took up defensive positions around Earth. There has to be a way to stop it. Doctor, what about the interference field? No good, Paddle replied, his fingers dancing across holographic displays. They've adapted. The Voidmaker operates on principles we barely understand. He stopped suddenly, his eyes widening. Wait, Lieutenant Tanaka, are you seeing this? Tanaka's voice crackled through the comm. Yes, sir. The energy signature. It's not just creating singularities. It's using them to generate power. The weapon is feeding on itself. A new voice joined the conversation. Major Kaijong, commander of Earth's Quantum Physics Division. That's it. The weapon's power comes from controlled quantum collapse. But what if we could turn that against them? Sir, Tanaka called out, her voice tense with urgency. Long-range sensors are detecting new signatures. The Dominion is calling for reinforcements. Riley's expression remained steady, but his eyes hardened. The first phase of the battle was ending. The Dominion's initial attack had been blunted, but at a terrible cost. The skies above Earth were littered with debris from both sides, and many cities had suffered damage despite the shields. But humanity had achieved something unprecedented. They had survived first contact with the Dominion. More than survived, they had fought back effectively enough to force the aliens to call for help. It was a victory, but a temporary one. Alert all commands, Riley ordered. We have 12 hours before their reinforcements arrive. Begin Phase 2 preparations. As the sun set on the first day of open war, humanity's defenders regrouped and reformed their lines. The Dominion had expected an easy conquest, but they had found something else entirely. They had found a species that refused to be conquered, that had turned deception against deceivers, and that had proven far more dangerous than anyone had expected. The real war was just beginning. Counterstrike. The Dominion reinforcements arrived exactly as predicted, a vast armada of warships that dwarfed the initial invasion force. They emerged from hyperspace in a brilliant flash of light, their hulls gleaming with malevolent purpose. But this time, Earth was waiting. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility known only as Station Deep, Dr. Victor Patel put the finishing touches on humanity's most ambitious project. Operation Dark Mirror is ready, he announced to the assembled military leaders. The quantum interference field generator, developed in secret over the past 3 weeks, represented humanity's understanding of the Dominion's greatest weakness. Their entire combat system relies on quantum entanglement, Paddle explained, his hands moving across holographic displays. Their communications, weapons, even their ship-to-ship coordination, all of it depends on quantum stability. If we can disrupt that, Admiral Chen's face appeared on the main screen, her fleet regrouped and ready in lunar orbit. My ships are in position, Doctor. Just give us the word. The plan was audacious, perhaps even desperate, but desperation had always been the mother of human innovation. As the Dominion fleet moved into attack formation, humanity prepared to unveil their counterstrike. Commander Riley, still coordinating from the ISS, gave the signal. All units, execute Operation Dark Mirror. May God have mercy on their souls, because we won't. Across Earth's orbit, hidden installations activated. The quantum interference field spread like an invisible web, its effects immediate and devastating. Dominion ships, their systems dependent on quantum-based technology, began to experience cascading failures. Their perfect formation dissolved into chaos as ship-to-ship communications broke down. Colonel Rodriguez, leading Earth's aerospace forces, seized the moment. All squadrons, engage at will. Remember your training. They're fighting blind, but we're not. Human fighters, equipped with traditional targeting systems alongside their advanced hybrid tech, swarmed the disoriented Dominion vessels. The aliens' superior technology, usually their greatest advantage, had become their greatest weakness. Their ships, unable to coordinate or target effectively, found themselves at the mercy of human pilots who had trained their entire lives to fight without relying solely on advanced systems. On the bridge of his flagship, the Dominion's Supreme Commander Thax watched in horror as his fleet's coordination crumbled. "Impossible," he snarled, his crystalline features distorting with rage. These primitives, they couldn't possibly understand quantum mechanics at this level. But they did understand, and they had turned that understanding into a weapon. Dr. Patel's team had spent weeks analyzing the quantum signatures of Dominion technology, finding the frequencies that would cause maximum disruption while leaving Earth's hybrid systems functional. The battle evolved into something the Dominion had never experienced, a fight where their technological superiority meant nothing. Human ships, though fewer in number and less advanced, pressed their advantage relentlessly. Squadron after squadron struck at the confused Dominion fleet, targeting vital systems that their intel had identified. Lieutenant Tanaka, monitoring the battle from the ISS, reported a startling discovery. "Commander, the quantum disruption is having an unexpected effect on their hull integrity. Their adaptive armor, it's becoming brittle." "Not where, when," Paddle replied. His fingers flew across his console as he transmitted new calculations to Zhang's team. "The temporal distortions, if we can focus them properly, we might be able to create a time dilation field. Trap the weapon in its own temporal bubble." It was theoretical physics made real through desperate necessity. Zhang's team began recalibrating their equipment, even as the space around them twisted into impossible shapes. The Voidmaker's power, meant to destroy, would be turned into a prison for itself. Lieutenant Tanaka, monitoring from the ISS, spotted a new threat. Dominion reinforcements. They're making one final push. But humanity had one last card to play. From hidden bases across the solar system, a reserve fleet emerged, ships that had been held back for this very moment. Admiral Chen had anticipated the Dominion's desperation, knowing they would commit everything to one final assault. "All ships, execute Operation Phoenix," Chen commanded. The reserve fleet moved with precision, their crews fresh and ready while the Dominion reinforcements had pushed their ships to the breaking point just to arrive. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations. Human ships, fighting with a combination of advanced technology and pure determination, engaged the Dominion's reinforcements. Every pilot, every crew member knew that failure meant not just defeat, but extinction. At the heart of the chaos, Zhang's team completed their modifications. The quantum destabilizers began emitting new frequencies, turning the Voidmaker's temporal distortions back on themselves. A sphere of warped space-time began to form around the weapon. "It's working," John reported, his voice strained. "The temporal bubble is forming. But," he paused, "we can't maintain the field from outside. Someone has to stay with the device, keep it calibrated until the bubble seals." Commander Riley understood immediately what John wasn't saying. "Major, you've done enough. We can find another way." "No," John replied simply. "We can't. It's been an honor serving with you all." His next words were directed to his team. "Get to the escape pods. That's an order." As Zhang's team evacuated, Rodriguez's fighters provided cover, engaging any Dominion ship that tried to interfere. The temporal bubble continued to grow, its surface shimmering with impossible energies. Supreme Commander Thax, watching his weapon and his victory slip away, finally understood. These humans, these primitives he had so badly underestimated, had outmaneuvered him at every turn. "All ships," he commanded, "retreat. Full withdrawal. The Earth is not worth this cost." The Dominion fleet, what remained of it, began to pull back. But they were too late to escape unscathed. The temporal bubble reached its critical point, and in a flash of light that briefly outshone the sun, the Voidmaker, along with Zhang's shuttle and several nearby Dominion ships, vanished into a pocket of frozen time. The bubble remained, a sphere of distorted space where time moved so slowly it might as well have stopped. Inside, the Voidmaker would take millions of years to complete its detonation, effectively trapped forever in a moment of time. The battle was over. Earth had won, but the cost had been staggering. The space around their planet was littered with debris from both sides, a graveyard that would serve as a permanent reminder of what humanity had accomplished and what they had sacrificed. In the aftermath, as humanity began to rebuild, they found themselves changed. They had faced extinction and survived. More than survived, they had proven themselves equal to the most powerful civilization they had encountered. Admiral Chen, speaking to the United Nations a week later, summed up what everyone was thinking. We're no longer just citizens of Earth. Today, we join the galaxy as equals. The Dominion thought they would find an easy conquest. Instead, they found humanity. The message spread across the stars, carried by retreating Dominion ships and intercepted communications. Earth was not to be trifled with. Humanity had earned its place among the spacefaring civilizations, not through advanced technology or overwhelming numbers, but through innovation, determination, and an unwillingness to submit to tyranny. Commander Riley, standing at his window on the ISS, watched the temporal bubble shimmer in the distance, a permanent monument to human ingenuity and sacrifice. "We're ready now," he said quietly. "Ready for whatever comes next." The stars seemed brighter somehow, more full of promise than threat. Humanity had faced its trial by fire and emerged stronger. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would they.